Look, the 2025 transfer window hasn't even started yet, and the blockbuster summer move is already well in place. Exactly a year after Real Madrid made their first inquiry on Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Do you remember it was 1 year ago, 22nd of March 2024, and I tweeted Real Madrid are monitoring the situation of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and now, 1 year later, we are here to say that the here we go is expected to come soon.
Real Madrid fans are glazing him, opponents are hating him, Barca fans, well, they seem surprisingly happy with such a transfer, emphasizing his poor defending. But are they right to think so? Let's find out. Okay, so certain logic to the opinion that Trent would not improve his defending immediately upon arriving in La Liga. But let's be honest, this is really, well, the only negative about him. And I don't really think that this downside could even come close to outweighing the dozens of positives. Firstly, it's obvious that Trent thrives on being the best, and this could be seen in the way he talks to the media. In an interview, a sort of game with Sky Sports, he had to choose from 4 very coveted awards for any footballer. But his choice, that left the interviewer surprised.
Win another Champions League title, win the Ballon d'Or, become Liverpool captain, win a trophy for England. Yeah, I just want that legacy of being probably the greatest right back to ever play football. I'd say win a Ballon d'Or.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
the last one I thought you'd go for.
So, yeah, Trent knows that he really could be one of the best. After this exact interview, you can imagine the hatred Liverpool and England fans had for him. How could you pick the Ballon d'Or over a trophy with England? Was the most popular quote from his critics. Yes, his choice does seem shocking, as most players, even the very greatest, like Messi, Xavi or Iniesta, they've always focused on collective rather than individual achievements. But that's what makes Trent so special. As he said in the interview, "My mentality is this: don't just play the game, change the game." And those words really describe his personality. He knows his qualities, he knows what he's capable of, and that drive to be the best could really make his dream come true. And while we're on the subject, over the years, we've become accustomed to the narrative that defender and Ballon d'Or are 2 diametrically opposed terms. So, let's go back to the archives. To start with, let's take a look at some iconic defenders who are widely regarded as some of the greatest of all time. Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Dani Alves, Marcelo, Jordi Alba, Javier Zanetti, Philip Lam. How could you react if I told you that of these 7 legends, none have ever won the Ballon d'Or? Actually, something more. Of them, only Roberto Carlos has come close, coming second in 2002. Furthermore, apart from the Brazilian icon, there are only 2 other fullbacks in history who have finished in the top 3 in the Ballon d'Or. They are Ajax and Netherlands legend Ruud Krol, 3rd in 1979, and Paolo Maldini, 3rd in 1994. Of course, the Italian finished in the top 3 again in 2003, but he'd already switched to centre-back then. So, you can really see where this drive comes from for Trent. If he somehow manages to do it, he'll instantly become the best of all time. No doubt about it. But the really scary thing about Trent is that he has nothing to lose at the Bernabeu. He'll be a free agent, which is not technically true, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He'll have the entire right flank at his disposal, and he'll have 3 of the fastest players on the planet in Vini, Mbappe and Rodrygo to deliver his delicious crosses and long balls. And I'll say it here and now, Hansi Flick, you better start preparing your high line this pre-season, because it won't be as effective as it was next year. Yes, it's true that the German maestro has stunned the world with a tactical approach that gives meaning to his entire philosophy. Barcelona are the team with the most drawn offsides of all the teams in Europe's top 5 leagues, 140 at the time of writing. Yes, they are fascinating with this approach. Yes, Mbappe was in shambles in the first El Clasico, looking like a junior player by not being able to escape the offside. But do you know what the problem was? The long passes, of course. Hear me out. It's impossible to have a player with Trent's passing range and his accuracy, and a forward with Mbappe's speed, and not be able to hurt your opponent multiple times in a game, whether it's against Barcelona or other teams in La Liga that implement the high defensive line strategy. By the way, if you like our content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future uploads. So, With that in mind, you can be sure that Trent will be able to break his assists records season after season. His current best is 13 for a single league campaign, set in the title-winning 2019-20, when Trent had 13 Premier League assists in 38 games. However, his best assist-to-game ratio, that came a season earlier, when Trent managed 12 assists in just 29 league appearances, which is, frankly, out of this world, really. And to make things even spicier, what's the current La Liga assist record for a defender? Well, the man who holds it is Barca legend Dani Alves, who laid on 15 assists during their title-winning 2010-11 campaign. Interestingly, the Brazilian has one more year with more assists than Trent's best, and that is the 2007-8 campaign, when he assisted 14 times in a Sevilla shirt. So, yes, it's not going to be easy for Trent to break the record. But once you've reached the psychological limit of double-digit assists in a single season, it wouldn't be too difficult for Alexander-Arnold to hit 16 in a single campaign, especially if he's going to mark an era in La Liga, and even more so with the astronomical targets he's already set himself. Yes, we originally titled this video, Why La Liga Must Fear Trent Alexander-Arnold, but is there any sense in that at all? I mean, even in the so-called worst season for Real Madrid in recent years, they are still in contention for every trophy by mid-April. Even this Atletico Madrid side, who invested heavily over the summer to strengthen their ranks to cope with the likes of Barcelona and Los Blancos, the two Spanish giants still managed to beat Atleti's resilience with ease, which is why it's probably better to say why Barcelona have to fear Trent, because there's so much more to talk about. Remember when the Englishman said that the only other club than Liverpool he would ever play for is Barcelona, and that Barca is his favourite team apart from Liverpool because they have the same beliefs and values as Merseyside? Well, you can be sure that his move to Real Madrid, whenever it finalises, will put Barca under enormous pressure, because when it comes to defending from set pieces or dealing with his long passes, that leaves their entire defensive line exposed. So yeah, those words from Trent in 2020, they're really interesting, and I really think he did say them because he knew, even then, that he wouldn't be ending his career at Liverpool. Even in 2020, he'd already won everything with Liverpool, and perhaps at that stage he saw himself more at Barcelona than Real Madrid. But if we dig a little deeper, a lot's changed in those 5 years. Real Madrid's dominance in world football has intensified. They won 2 Champions League, 3 La Liga titles, 1 Copa del Rey, twice won the European double, but most importantly, they've created a dynasty under Carlo Ancelotti, who recently said that he doesn't plan to go anywhere else after the end of the season. Barcelona, on the other hand, have won almost nothing in all that time. Their single shining moment came when they won La Liga in 2023. But that's nothing compared to the legacy Madrid have created over the last half-decade. Yes, the Catalans are back in the headlines and they're on the lips of Europe, but at the end of the day, even with this new brand of attacking football under Hansi Flick, they've yet to win anything. Add that to Barca's strained financial situation and the influence of Jude Bellingham, and you have the whole story. So, the conclusion is that the Catalan giants, even with the big possibility to win something this season, they could have their smiles fading away pretty quickly with Madrid's acquisition of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And you know what the best part is? That Real Madrid could be in line for Trent's services sooner than you think. Yes, according to recent reports, Los Blancos will pay Liverpool €5 million in recognition and respect for their rival, but more importantly, to be able to integrate Trent straight into their starting 11 for the Club World Cup, which starts on the 14th of June, this summer. I don't know about you, but it sounds very exciting, even for a man who doesn't support Real Madrid. One day you're lifting the Premier League title in a packed Anfield in front of 60,000 people, and the next day you're already standing next to some generational talents like Mbappe, Valverde, Vini, Jude, Rodrygo, and so on. You know them all. Now, let's finish with 2 quick questions. Firstly, do you think Trent's difficulties in defending one-on-one would outweigh all the positives he would bring to Real Madrid in attack? And secondly, do you think he has the ability to beat Mbappe, Vini, and Jude to the Ballon d'Or and become the first defender to do so? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Or if you want to learn more about Vitinha's rise to prominence at PSG, just click on the video you see on your screen right now. Catch you there.